1985-86 Boston Celtics are generally thought of as one of the greatest teams in NBA history. They had the sort of season where the Celtics seemed to win everything, even when they played poorly. With a 67-15 regular season record and an NBA Finals victory, this Celtics team will always be remembered as one of the greatest teams of all time. But the 1986-87 season started off with tragedy for the Boston Celtics. It's kind of ironic that one of the best teams in NBA history wound up with the second pick in the first round of the NBA draft. The Celtics had received that pick from the Seattle Supersonics in the Gerald Henderson trade back in October 1984. The Sonics didn't have the worst record in the NBA in 85-86, but the lottery wound up working in Boston's favor. All 7 lottery teams were evenly seeded, which meant that the Celtics wound up with that number 2 pick. The 76ers, another good team, had the first pick. It's kind of bizarre to look back in the past and realize just how different things were. There was really nothing in place to prevent bad teams from unloading high draft picks and trades, and it looked like the Boston Celtics were about to start a major dynasty. Len Bias had been a standout player on Maryland during his time there, which included leading the team to an ACC title in 1984. Bias showed clear signs of NBA talent and was predicted to be a star. But just a few days after the draft, tragedy struck. This was during the height of the era of drug problems in the NBA, something that many of us have forgotten about. In fact, the height of that drug problem was really the death of Len Bias and the major drug issues in Phoenix the next year. This was a great era in the NBA for so many reasons, but there were really also a lot of problems. The Washington Bullets, meanwhile, were able to sneak into the NBA playoffs in 1986 despite a losing season. Washington put its hopes in the old ABA star Moses Malone, who was only 31 in 1986. They also had Manute Bol, the timeless man, one of the tallest players in the history of the league. And the offense also featured a kid named Jeff Malone, who was making a name for himself by putting up big numbers. Don't overlook the Washington Bullets. This is one of those sneaky teams that can give some of the bigger and most famous teams trouble. And so it's the ring ceremony for the champion Celtics making their home debut on opening night. The Celtics are favored to win, of course, but you never know what's going to happen. This was the great era of the NBA, back when the league really started to come into the public spotlight. So let's dive right on in and see what happens. And so here we are, ready to go into this. I've been warning you about this for a little while now. We're going to play a little bit of hoops basketball on the computer, and so we'll take a look and see what we can figure out and exactly how this game works. So I will warn you that I haven't played this game on the PC all that much, so we'll sort of see what shows up and what we have. And I'm going to make sure, just so you know, this takes up a real small part of the screen here on the computer that I'm playing, and you cannot resize it because of the way it's programmed. So we're going to have to sort of mess around a little bit with this. We will go, though, here to the first game of the season, the Bullets at the Celtics. And we'll take a look and see what we're going to do about the who can and cannot play. Overall, I kind of want to match what happened in real life as much as possible. But for example, like Anthony Jones, who was starting for the Bullets, is not really on the team. I don't want to go through and like have to make a whole bunch of like transactions and stuff like that ahead of time. It gets to the point where you're kind of spending a little bit too much time figuring all this stuff out. So we do want Roundfield to be eligible. Manute Bol did play. Charlie Jones also played, and Jay Murphy, who's not listed here, played, but it's not really going to matter. Just so you know, Hoops doesn't offer, actually we probably could just let the computer decide and just go for it. Like, Hoops does not offer cards for every one of the players. So if you count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, there are only 12 players per team. Now, in the era of like 1986, 87, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a huge problem, right? I'm looking at the Boston Celtics, for example. They had 16 players overall on the team that season. It's not necessarily going to be like the worst thing in the world, but it does mean that if you're trying to go through and you want to do the exact, transactions, lineups and stuff, this is probably not the right game for you. So we'll go ahead and just click done. We'll just let the computer figure it out. Another thing for those of you familiar with this game is the substitutions. I'm actually going to allow the computer computer to do substitutions, and we'll see if we can override them manually if there are problems. I was looking online, and people say that you can definitely choose that. So we're going to put on as many options as we possibly can. And now, so you know, I'm going to sort of walk your way through this at the beginning, and then we'll probably speed this up a little bit so this game doesn't take forever to play. So when you get everything loaded up, you can see here you have two different cards, one front side and one back side. I'll explain to you how this works as we go along. You click play and you roll the dice for both teams. There's also an adjustment for each team based upon, I believe, how the centers match up. So it's Moses Malone against Robert Parrish. Roll the dice for both teams. This is different than Stratomatic. And Washington has a 7, Boston a 6. So Washington ends up winning it. There was that adjustment as well. So it is. We just go ahead and click done. We're not going to worry about that necessarily too much. Now, so who has the ball and what happens? Well, this is all determined by these play action cards that we're going to go through here. So we'll go through this slowly. Click on play. As you can see right here, it says the possession goes over to the center. Each one of these cards represents about 10 seconds of the game, more or less. This means that Moses Malone ends up with the ball because it's determined by this part of the play action card. And then this part right here determines which column is used. Defense means you're going to roll against the defender's column. So Robert Parrish, who is guarding Moses Malone, we're going to look at his column. You can do things if you want. You can change the person who's guarding, whichever guy you want. You can make different decisions and stuff like that as you see fit. We're just going to kind of go with this. The roll here is a 6 plus 6, which is a 12. This is Stratomatic style. 12 means that it's a basket. The /P means that if this player right here maybe wasn't such it didn't take that many shots, then instead he'd be forced to pass instead of taking the shot. Now, this game doesn't cover every single pass that you make, just so you know. There's a lot of stuff that kind of happens beforehand. This is really just covering the shooting and sort of the key situations in the game. When you understand that, then it's going to be a little bit easier. So Boston with the possession now, and we go ahead and click over. You can see it's going to be the point guard with the possession of the ball, and it's going to be from the defensive player's card. It'll be Ennis Watley's card. Ennis Watley, by the way, was not, I don't think he was with the Bullets yet. We'll see what Watley has to do here against Dennis Johnson. Johnson was an occasional all-star there for the Celtics. And I think that there's a little bit of a question as to how good he was. Yeah, Watley actually started the season off with, he did start the season off with Washington, but he wasn't available, I suppose, at the very beginning of the season. But it's all right. We'll just go ahead and play. The roll is an 11, and an 11 over here on his card means it's a 3-point attempt. So you can see 3-point attempts are called generally by the card. You don't have to, call it yourself like in Strat. And so we do a little roll for Dennis Johnson against his 3-point chart here. 6 plus 3 is 9, and that's a miss. And so he misses, and the rebound comes down according to what happens here on this play action card. You see, you don't have to switch to different cards the way you do with like Stratomatic. All of this happens off the same card. The rebound action tells us it's the offensive small forward with a +4. That would be Bird with +4. So he would be, 12 versus the shooting guard of the defense. That would be Malone with a 7. So Bird wins that one pretty clearly. Larry Bird with a good rebound. And after the offensive rebound, he has a chance for a inside play right away without having to draw another one of these cards. It'll become obvious in a second when we start seeing teams, having 24-second violations and stuff like that. His roll is a 4 and a 2, which is a 6, which means that he misses. And as he misses that one, the second part here says that the home team ends up getting the rebound, a team rebound. And it looks like it's not going to go to anybody, so it's going to be inbounded by the Celtics. And so we'll have them inbound, which just means that we hit play and we switch to the next card. This time he goes over to Robert Parrish. Parrish has the ball, and it's offense 5. So we look over here on this chart. 5 is between 1 and 9, right? That's the way this works. F is for foul shots, and D is defense. It's inside or outside, and so it's on Parrish's inside column. Roll 3 plus 5 is an 8. Nothing there, which means it's missed. This is not like Stratomatic where nothing there means you make it, which is confusing. And then we go for the rebound here, and the rebound will end up going to Jeff Malone for Washington. And he has a chance for a fast break, so he threw this one out to Ennis Watley. Watley's roll is a 2 plus 4, which is 6, which means an assist. and you can choose the player that scores, which is kind of the way that it works. So we'll choose Jeff Malone, and it's a great pass by Wally to Jeff Malone, who makes the shot, and it is 4-0 Bullets. So you get kind of an idea of kind of what happens here. A bunch of options you can choose. Of course, you can change players. You can do some coaching options here. You can press. You can hold the ball, crash the boards if you want. You can also crash the boards and press, and this is where you can change your defensive matchup if you really want to. We're not going to worry about that right now until we actually have to. That's more of your advanced strategy. So now we'll go into this. Next one up is going to be Kevin McHale, the power forward, and it's a 2, so it's within his inside column, up against Terry Catledge. So McHale, again, another all-star, rolls a 3 + 1 is a 4, which means he misses the shot, and the rebound will be grabbed there by Robert Parrish. It was Parrish going up against Catledge. Parrish grabs it, and he has a chance for a putback, rolls a 1-1, and it's a turnover offensive foul. So Robert Parrish is called for the offensive foul. I'm assuming that was on the rebound attempt, and so this ball will go over to the Bullets. We're about a minute and a half, or I'm sorry, about 30 seconds through the game, the Bullets with a 4-0 lead. And this is an interesting one here, right? So with this one, the star 10 means that any player who has an X number that is a 10 will then get the ball automatically. This is built into the game to account for people like Will Chamberlain in 1961-62, where he had a lot of attempts at shooting. It's to account for players where situations where the offense is going basically through one player. So nobody qualified, and then you go to the next card. Goes over to the shooting guard, so Jeff Malone, but it's the defensive column, which is Danny Ainge's column. Ainge also didn't play in this game in real life. It's okay. We're going to sort of pass over on that one. Roll is a 1 + 1, which is a 2, which means that the shot is missed. Notice that that's from Ainge's card, so it's good defense in his part. A rebound grab by Moses Malone. Moses Malone's going to go back up with it. His roll 3 + 1 is a 4, and so he misses. We've had sloppy shooting, and this is grabbed here by Kevin McHale. And there's no chance here for a fast break, so the Celtics will pass it over. It's going to be Robert Parrish now with the ball, and Malone is the defender, Moses Malone. It comes from Moses's column. 3 + 1 is 4, which means a missed shot. And this time it's going to be Kevin McHale grabbing the rebound. We'll see if he goes back up with it. Rolls a 5 + 2, which means he's fouled. F2 means foul and 2 shots. So it's going to be Terry Catledge called for the foul. We're not going to worry too much about how this is determined and all of this stuff. I think that it's just because he's the one guarding McHale. I think that's sort of the way that we figured it out here. So we'll have McHale take 2 shots. First shot is up and good. And the second free throw is up and good. So it's 4-2 now, Bullets, and Washington now with the ball. And bring it down, go over to Moses Malone. Not too much of a surprise there. And his roll is a 6 + 2, which is an 8, which means another missed shot. And this is going to be rebounded here. We're going to have to roll for a result. So the roll is a 4. I'm trying to look at this. Offensive power forward versus defensive power forward. Plus minus FB. So I think that's minus the roll, I'm guessing. Anyway, Kevin McHale is going to wind up with this. And that leads to a fast break here for the Celtics. Danny Ainge with this rolls a 6 + 5, which means he makes a great pass. And he's going to go over to Larry Bird. So Bird with the shot, and that makes it a 4-4 ball game. So Bullets with the ball here again. It's going to be Jeff Malone. Jeff Malone outside shoots, and he's fouled as he misses that one. So he's fouled there by Ainge. And we have a little bit of a change here on the court somewhere as the Celtics decide to put in Greg Kite. So Greg Kite's going to come on into the game, and I think that's the only change that we have made so far. Yeah, it was Robert Parrish who was called for the foul. It was his second foul. Again, like the way that the fouls are determined, I think it does... I think that there's a random number or something like this that's determining how the fouls are determined. So, we won't worry necessarily too much about that because that might get a little bit too in the weeds. So we'll go ahead and keep playing. Malone now rolls, and it's 6 + 6, which is a 12, which means he misses. So he misses one. And this time he rolls the 11, so it's good. 5-4 Bullets. Here come the Celtics. It'll be Bird with the ball. Bird, and it comes from Jay Vincent, who's guarding him, his column. And the roll is a 6 + 2 and 8, so it's a steal and a chance for a fast break over to Moses Malone. And he commits a turnover, so it looks like Malone lost this one out of bounds, and it goes back to the Celtics. Still 5-4 Bullets. A little bit low scoring, but it's early in the first period. The roll, nobody qualifies, so we end up going to the next card. Danny Ainge with it now. Outside, rolls a 10, and it misses. Rebound goes over, and it'll be Jay Vincent grabbing this for the Bullets. And Vincent has a fast break chance over to Watley. Watley, and he gets fouled. Foul will be called on Dennis Johnson. It's going to be his first, and so Watley will be shooting free throws. First free throw is up and good. And Ennis with the next one misses this one. We'll see where the rebound goes. And this is going to end up being the Celtics who will wind up inbounding the ball. So that one ended up going out of bounds. 6-4 now, the Bullets with the leads. The Celtics inbound this. Is going to be Kevin McHale with it. And his roll 6 + 3 is 9. And so he misses the shot. And it'll be Terry Catledge grabbing the defensive rebound for the Bullets. No chance for fast break, so they slow it down. And now we'll see if we want Moses or Jeff Malone to have it. I think we'll choose Jeff Malone, who tends to have a little bit better shooting percentage. And he rolls the 5, which means he has an assist. And the assist, I think, will go over to Moses Malone and give him the basket. So 8-4 now, Washington, and it's Celtics ball. Celtics will bring it down. It's Kevin McHale. Rolls a 6 and is a basket. So McHale with the ball inside makes the basket against Catledge, and we go the other way. 8-6 now. Interesting is you would think that a game with all of these fast action cards wouldn't work so well, but it actually works quite well. We have this option again between two players who frequently have the ball. We'll choose Malone. Roll is going to be a 3, and it's a 3-point attempt, so we'll roll for that, and he misses it. A rebound ends up being Dennis Johnson who grabs it, and there's no chance for the fast break, so they'll bring it up slowly. Moses Malone now against Greg Kite. Kite, of course, not exactly a huge offensive threat. And it's going to be a missed shot by Greg Kite. Good defense there by Moses. And it'll be Jay Vincent grabbing the rebound. And it goes over to Jeff Malone for a fast break opportunity, and he ends up having a pass. So the Celtics are able to get back on that. And it'll now go over to Moses Malone. Malone with this against Greg Kite, and he misses the shot again. So he's been missing quite a few shots here. Larry Bird will grab that defensive rebound. So we'll go down the other side. It's to Danny Ainge now, and he rolls a 4 + 5, which is one of those assists, and we'll have him give it over to DJ, and that ties the game at 8. So you can kind of see like what the flow of this game here is pretty much. We'll kind of speed this up a little bit so we can get through some stuff. Now it's Malone against Ainge. It comes off of Ainge's card, and he ends up with a steal. Danny Ainge with a good steal gives him a fast break opportunity and ends up being forced into a pass because of the defense by the Bullets. Ends up now with Larry Bird, who's up against Jay Vincent, and Bird's shot misses. No good, and it's Moses Malone coming away with a defensive rebound, and he throws out to Jay Vincent, and he has to pass. So the fast break doesn't quite work again. It'll be Terry Catledge with the ball, and he rolls a 10 there for the turnover. And so it doesn't work once again for the Bullets, and still an 8-8 ball game early on. Celtics with the ball, and it ends up being Larry Bird who gets this. You only have 3 cards you can go through, and then it's a 24-second violation. Bird here, though, is going to be fouled. I think Jay Vincent is called for the foul. He is, and that's going to be his first. So Bird here with 2 shots as he was fouled in the shot. Makes the first, and the second one's up and good. 10-8 now Boston, and it'll be a Washington ball. Jeff Malone here with the ball rolls a 2 + 3, which is a 5, and that'll be one of those assists, and he'll go to Jeff Malone. I'm sorry, to Moses Malone, my apologies. It's now 10-10. Great Kite here with it now, and he rolls a 12, and he turns the ball over. This is where you have to be careful with a guy like that in the game. So foul trouble to Robert Parrish has forced the Celtics into this bad situation. And Jay Vincent with the ball now, and he rolls for the assist, and he'll go into Moses Malone again. 12-10 now Bullets, so Washington able to get back on top. Boston here now rolls, and it's going to be an assist roll for Danny Ainge, who goes to Bird, and that'll tie this up at 12. And now we're starting to get a little bit of flow to this game. Catledge now with it, and his roll means he has a basket inside. 14-12 Bullets, and it'll be back here with Kevin McHale for the Celtics up against Moses Malone. And McHale ends up making the shot. Tied up at 14. Next roll here, it's going to be, I think we'll give it to Jeff Malone again. So Malone has the ball up against Danny Ainge, and Ainge is going to end up making the steal, chance for a fast break, and his roll is going to be an 8, which means a P, so the fast break doesn't quite work. Celtics have to use a little bit of time. It's Ainge here with the possession again, and his roll is a 4, which means a missed shot. It's going to be Terry Catledge who grabs that rebound. And he'll go over to Moses Malone. Malone with Great Kite on him. And this is going to be a steal. Great play by Great Kite. And usually good play by the big man. Ends up with Ainge. And he has to pass out again. So we're about halfway through the first quarter now. Like I said, it's a relatively low-scoring game. And Jeff Malone up against Ainge. It'll be Malone's card, and Ainge ends up making the shot. So that's good. And it's 16-14 now, Celtics. Moses Malone now with the ball up here against Great Kite, and it's going to be a foul on Kite, but non-shooting, so it's inbounded there by Washington. That F1 means that no shot on the play. We're going to go to Jeff Malone here again against Ainge, and he goes for the shot, and it's no good, misses that one. This will be rebounded by who? I think it's going to be rebounded by John Williams, grabs that for Washington, and Williams, who they call him Hot Plate Williams as opposed to Hot Rod Williams, who's with Cleveland. Williams goes up for the shot, doesn't make it, but he's fouled, and so he gets 2 shots, and that'll be it for Great Kite. So Kite has to go out of the game, and that means that basically the Celtics are going to be playing for the most part without a center here, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do. This is an interesting looking lineup that they have with Carlisle, McHale, Day, Ainge, and Sixteen. So they gave Larry Bird a little bit of a rest, and so we'll see what happens as this goes on. 16-14 Celtics. Williams with the first shot, and it's good. Second shot is up, and it's good. 16-16, and here come the Celtics. Moses Malone up against Rick Carlisle, and Moses Malone does a good job, forces the pass. Now it's going to be Jerry Sichting with it, and it'll be Michael Adams on him, and Sichting rolls the assist, and he'll give it over to Kevin McHale, and that makes it 18-16 for the Celtics. So the Celtics now playing without some of those big stars. They'll go into Moses Malone against Rick Carlisle, and he's forced to sort of pass that out. Couldn't get anything going on inside. Flip over the next card over to John Williams now, and the hot plate rolls another pass, and they have one more chance. They'll go over here to Jeff Malone. Malone with Ainge on him, and it's going to be a basket. So that one went all the way down to the end of the 24-second shot clock, but Malone made the shot. Makes it tied at 18 with about 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Darren Day now with the ball. Darren Day, good heavens. So who is Darren Day? This is one that I don't really know all that well as I've been doing my research into this game. I'm sure there's somebody out here who's going to know. Out of UCLA, and he had been with the, he was actually both with the Bulls and with the Celtics in this season. He had started off, it looks like, with the Bulls and then went over to Boston after only a single game. His role results in a missed shot, and this is going to be rebounded here. It's going to be Catledge who grabs it for Washington, and there's Adams with a chance for a fast break, and it's going to turn into a three-point attempt. This is a little bit rare, but it does happen from time to time, and his role is good for a 3, and that makes this a 21-18 game with just under 5 minutes left. So the next comes up, and it's Darren Day with this again. You got to wonder how long the Celtics want to keep him in, but he has a great pass here. It's going to be a good pass over to Danny Ainge, who makes the shot. 21-20 now, Bullets. Washington brings it down, goes over to Catledge. This is Kevin McHale on him, and Catledge able to make the shot. 23-20 it is now. Jerry Sichting now with the ball, and Adams is able to steal it, and there's another fast break attempt over to John Williams, and he has to pass it out, unfortunately. And we have 2 of these stray ones that call for X numbers that they don't have. Williams is going to force up a 2-point shot, so this is what happens when you get that sort of situation. They can you can be forced to take a shot, and on his sort of forced ratings of 5, so here's his shot chart, and he's able to make it. So it's a good shot there by Williams. 25-20 now, Bullets. Celtics come down. Nobody qualifies for that, so they have to go through one card. And then Sichting with it shoots but misses the shot. Michael Adams will grab this for the Bullets, and no chance for the fast break, so he'll bring it down. Adams now with the ball has to pass it out. And this will wind up here with Jeff Malone. And he takes the shot, or I'm sorry, he rolls and has an assist roll, and he'll go over, sure, to Terry Catledge. Great pass there by Jeff Malone. That makes it 27-20. So if you're familiar with Stratomatic with the Dazzler pass, that's exactly what that's like. That's sort of what that thing is that you see going on there. So we'll go over here to Celtics ball, down 27-20, and this is what happens with no center. Jeff Malone able to steal it away from Danny Ainge. And it's a fast break attempt, but they have to pass it back out. It's going to use up a little bit more time on the clock. Terry Catledge with it now. And it takes a shot against McHale, but McHale is able to get the block. And there's a rebound opportunity after that block shot. It's going to be John Williams who grabs this. There's hot play with it, rolls a 5 and misses the shot. Another potential rebound, and it's going to be a loose ball foul here called in the end. That's kind of what this this calls for. And they've already made the rule internally, so it's going to be called on Rick Carlisle. He gets called for the loose ball foul, and it remains Washington ball. So lots of fouls here called on the Celtics. The Bullets only with 2 team fouls in this quarter, Celtics with 5. Moses Malone now will take the shot. Looks like he's in the bonus, and there's a little bit of fiddling around here again with the group of players on the court. Greg Kite goes back in this game. That shot is good for Malone. It's 28-20. And that one is good as well, 29-20. And the Celtics will call a timeout. And so the Celtics call the timeout to stop the momentum of the Bullets. And so we'll see what happens there. Again, we're kind of going to let the computer sort of help us figure all this stuff out. As you know, when you're playing like a tabletop game, usually you don't have to do much in terms of the timeout, but the Celtics do take one here. And so it's 29-20 Bullets with a little bit under 3 minutes left in this quarter. It'll be Sam Vincent with his ball here for the Celtics, and he misses the shot. Charlie Jones ends up grabbing this one for the Bullets, and it's passed up to Michael Adams, and he's got a great pass here for the assist over to John Williams. 31-20 now, Bullets. It'll be Jerry Sichting with the ball coming the other way, and he has to pass it out. Now, Greg Kite with it, and it's blocked by Charlie Jones. Greg Kite, not much of an offensive player. And it's a rebound opportunity here. It'll be Jerry Sichting who grabs it for the Celtics. And he tries to put it back up, but has to pass it out again. There's no room for it. Good defense here by the Bullets. Going to be with Jerry Sichting again, and he now rolls for the assist and goes over to Larry Bird. And so Bird's able to score. Bird now with 8 points. A Bird with 8, Moses Malone with 10. And we'll go the other way. 31-22 Bullets. It'll be a hot plate here with it up against Larry Bird, and he ends up making the shot over Bird, and it's good, 33-22. Celtics with it now, and it's going to be Bird against Williams, and he'll make the shot, so they trade baskets, 33-24. Coming down the other way, it'll be Moses Malone with it, and he makes a shot over Carlisle. Celtics with the ball now, it'll be Vincent, and he'll make the shot as he gets the roll on the inside, and they're just trading baskets here. John Williams now with it up against Carlisle, and he makes that shot. So you're seeing a little bit better shooting now than what we had before. It's all based on those dice rolls. Jerry Sichting with it in a nice pass over. It'll go to Sam Vincent, who makes the shot. So 37-28 now Bullets. Bullets have a chance for 40 points this quarter. Moses Malone ends up missing this. He grabs his own rebound, goes back up with it, and ends up having to pass it out in the end. You have to use a little bit of time. Charlie Jones with another pass. And Michael Adams now with this chance, with the clock winding down, shoots and makes the shot. 39-28. Larry Bird here with this up against Williams, and he's fouled. So Williams commits his first foul, and this will be 2 shots for Bird. He makes the first one easily, and makes the second. So Bird now with 12. And they've taken out the center Moses Malone in favor of Manute Bowles, so we should see some blocked shots. Let's see how many of those we see. Adams with the ball here for the Wizards, ends up passing this one out. Sorry, the Bullets, I should say. Over to Manute Bowles, and he misses the shot. And he grabs his own rebound, going to go back up with it, and has to pass it out again. And so Adams will have to force the 2-point shot and ends up missing it. That's going to be the end of the quarter. He had to force it up, of course, because we didn't have any time left. So at the end of the first quarter, it's going to be Washington 39, Boston 30. You get an idea here, again, like I said, of how the game works. We'll just go ahead and sort of push our way forward. I'm probably just going to let at least here early on the computer manage a lot of the substitutions, so I don't have to worry too much about this. So the Celtics will start with the ball here in this quarter. Larry Bird makes a basket early on, making it a 7-point game. John Williams now with the ball being guarded by Bird. Good defensive play by Bird, so he misses, and it'll be Robert Parrish with the rebound. Here's Larry Bird on the fast break, and he has to pass it on out. It goes back over and through to Larry Bird again, and he ends up with a great assist as he passes this over to Dennis Johnson, and it ends up being 39-34. Darwin Cook now with it for the Bullets, and it's a foul by Sam Vincent. This will result in another inbounding of the ball. Now Charlie Jones with this, and he rolls a great assist. It's a good pass over. We'll give this over to Manute Bol. So Manute Bol ends up scoring. And the reason why you can choose that yourself, by the way, is so if you feel like some guy's not getting enough chances or whatever, you can kind of like even things out for your score and stuff like that. Again, it's similar to the Dazzler. There was a similar thing in old Mickey's Fast Break. This game is very similar to Mickey's Fast Break. Sam Vincent with this against Darwin Cook is a foul by the Bullets, and so they'll inbound the ball again. Kevin McHale now, and he's fouled by Charlie Jones. It'll be 2 shots for McHale. So the Celtics still having a hard time getting it rolling. McHale makes the first free throw and then makes the second one. 41-36, but it hasn't really been pretty for the Celtics, and it looks like they have their front court, their first team out there again. This might help them out a little bit. A couple of mismatches you can see. Williams up against Bird misses the shot. It'll be Dennis Johnson here with the rebound. He rolls and is fouled as he's on the fast break. Foul called on Charlie Jones. That will be his second. So Dennis Johnson has 4 points. Will shoot 2. First one is up and good. And the second one is missed. Up for the rebound is going to be Charlie Jones. Comes straight from the card. And so Washington ends up getting it and pushes up court. It's going to be Darwin Cook with this. And his roll is a missed shot. So he misses this. It'll be Robert Parrish now grabbing the rebound. And they have a fast break going the other way. Parrish, though, will be forced to pass it out. And ends up with Larry Bird. Bird rolls a 7 for the assist. And again, we'll go over to Parrish. Makes it 41-39. So the Celtics have managed to come back in this game. They were behind by as many as 11 at one point. Darwin Cook now with it. And I'm wondering if Darwin Cook isn't part of the problem. He misses up against Danny Ainge. And it'll be Larry Bird grabbing the rebound. Fast break over to Ainge. And he's fouled again. This will be Hot Play Williams this time. Williams is 10 points, but now has 2 fouls, so you got to watch out for him. Ainge with the first free throw, and it's good. Second one, and that one misses. 41-40, and it'll be Charlie Jones grabbing the rebound, and then he takes the timeout to try to stop that momentum. So, in case you're interested here, down here, you can see the Bullets shooting 53%, Celtics shooting 52%, so pretty good percentage overall. And it'll be Michael Adams here with the ball up against Dennis Johnson. And he's forced to pass by Johnson's defense. John Williams with it now, and that's a missed shot by Williams. It'll be Danny Ainge grabbing it, and here come the Celtics again on the fast break. But they're able to get back to stop it. Parrish, not a great fast break player anyway. The Celtics have to pass it around once more. And then it's stolen by Darwin Cook. So he gets over to Michael Adams. Adams will pass it over to Charlie Jones, and that makes it 43-40. The Bullets able to maintain the lead. Jones now with 2 points, his first 2 points of the game. Celtics bring it down the other way and have to use 2 different cards. And this is a block by Manute Bol. This is what I was talking about. This is why you want him in there. Manute Bol, of course, interesting. I was reading about him. Nobody knows when he was born, what year, and there might be a 20-year gap in his age. This is blocked out of bounds. That'll be the Celtics who inbound the ball. Charlie Jones up against Kevin McHale, and that's a foul. The Celtics will inbound it once again. I'm sorry, no, McHale will be at the line because they're in the bonus. And he misses the free throw, and then makes the second one. So it'll be 43-41. Here come the Bullets the other way. And it's Watley with it, is forced to pass out. And Manute Bol now winds up with it, and that's blocked by Robert Parrish, so we're having a block party here. And this one is a rebound opportunity. It will end up with, it looks like it's going to end up being out of bounds, and the Bullets will take it in. So Jeff Malone here with the ball. And he gets the basket and the foul up against Danny Ainge. Ainge now has his first foul. That's what's going on. Yes, Danny Ainge commits the foul. So 45-41, here comes Jeff Malone again, and he makes the free throw. 46-41, Malone now with 8 points. Robert Parrish now with it up against Manute Bol, and that's another block for Bol. And this time is blocked out of bounds, so the Celtics do maintain possession. Ainge up against Malone, and this is scored by Danny Ainge. And so it's 46-43. Now Jeff Malone here with the ball against Ainge. And the roll is for a missed shot. It'll be grabbed, the rebound by Larry Bird. And here comes Bird the other way. As Jay Vincent, however, able to roll for the steal. And here comes the fast break with Watley, and he makes the basket, and there we go. So it's a 48-43 lead for the Bullets. If you're curious, by the way, as to where like the fast breaks and stuff are coming from, they're coming from right here, this part of the card. So there's all of this stuff that's here on the cards do make sort of a difference. But in the sake of making it so this video is not 2 hours long, we'll just kind of move the game along for now. Larry Bird with this here for the Celtics, up against Jay Vincent. And he ends up making a fantastic pass. Yeah, we'll say Danny Ainge. 48-43 now Bullets. And so the Celtics still hanging in there with them. And it's Watley now with it. And Dennis Johnson's defense forces him into a missed shot. Jay Vincent, however, is able to grab the rebound. Puts it back up and misses. It'll be Vincent again with the rebound. This time not able to put it back. No, he does put it back up. And he's fouled. Foul is called here on Kevin McHale, who has his first. And it will be 2 shots. Vincent makes the first and makes the second. So 2 points now for Vincent. It'll be Celtics ball. Dennis Johnson up against Watley. And Watley commits a foul. It's going to be his first foul, I believe. Let's see. Yes, it is his first foul. So the Celtics will, because they're in the penalty, will take free throws. They make the first. And they make the second. So 50-47. Manute Bol now with the ball again. And yeah, Manute Bol definitely not the greatest player in the world in terms of offense. And that is stolen away by Robert Parrish. It's going to be a fast break opportunity, but Dennis Johnson ends up missing the shot. And the rebound ends up going to Jeff Malone. So Malone with it, and it ends up with Manute Bol again, and he's going to be fouled. It means he'll shoot free throws. So you can see there's a lot of strategy in this game, including like who you put in, who you decide not to put in, all of this stuff, because when you wind up with a player like, say, Manute Bol, who has the ball on offense, he can give you a lot of blocks, but since he can't do much on offense for you, it ends up being kind of a liability. He makes the first free throw and makes the second. So Bol now with 4 points. I'm sorry, we gave him the ball earlier. It'll be Larry Bird here with this ball, and he's fouled by Jay Vincent. I'm sorry, it'll be fouled by Jeff Malone. So Malone with his first foul. And the first free throw is up and no good for Bird, which is unusual. He makes the second one. 52-48 Washington. Jeff Malone now with it. And ends up missing his shot. It's rebounded by Larry Bird. And Larry Bird will go on a fast break, and he misses it in the fast break. Jay Vincent able to grab it. It's a good defense by Washington. Terry Catledge now with the ball, and good defense by McHale forces a pass. Watley now, and he rolls an assist, and we'll give it to Bowles. So Manute Bol scores again. That's 6 points for him. 54-48 now Bullets. Danny Ainge up against Jeff Malone now, and the attempted shot is definitely no good. And Larry Bird up there for the offensive rebound goes to put it back up, but he commits an offensive foul and turns it over. And so it'll be the Bullets who bring the ball out of bounds. Goes over to Jeff Malone. Malone rolls and gets the assist. We'll go ahead with that over to Ennis Watley. So Watley has 5 points, and it's 56-48 now Bullets. So Celtics have their big scores, McHale 11, Bird 15, but haven't been able to do very much with this Washington team. And it's Catledge getting the block against McHale. And this is a rebound chance. And this will end up going to Greg Kite. So Greg Kite ends up grabbing this, tries to put it back up, ends up with a good pass over to Danny Ainge for the shot. So a little bit of good luck there for the Celtics. And we'll go down to, it'll be the Bullets ball now. Ennis Watley with it, and he ends up with his shot blocked by Greg Kite, and that's blocked out of bounds. It'll be Washington ball. First one doesn't go through. Second play call will end up being rolled as a basket for Terry Catledge against Kevin McHale. And so it's 58-50 now Bullets. Now Manute Bol up against Greg Kite with the ball, I should say, and Bol gets another block. So another block there by Manute Bol. This one, again, is blocked out of bounds. I'm wondering how many blocks he has. It's not going to tell me up there, I suppose. But he's having one heck of a game, I'll tell you that. Danny Ainge now up against Jeff Malone and has to pass it out. Told you at the beginning, you got to watch out for these Bullets. Greg High with it now, and he ends up being fouled, and the foul will end up going to Ennis Watley, his second. And so Kai will be up there to shoot 2 free throws. The Celtics, by the way, only 46% shooting percentage now, and a lot of that is because of Manute Bol's defense. First shot for Kite is good, and the second one misses. It'll be a rebound opportunity. Manute Bol ends up grabbing that, and so they bring it down slowly. It'll be Ennis Watley with it here. He has to pass out. End up going to Jeff Malone, and he's got a mismatch here against Greg Kite. See, defense center. And Malone's going to end up taking the shot and scoring. And so the Celtics call a timeout. It's 60-51 Bullets. So the Celtics end up calling that timeout. And that helps to sort of get rid of this momentum status. This is all getting a little bit more advanced into the game. We'll worry about that, I think, a little bit later. So 60-51 here, the score. If we look here at the box scores, this is the thing I was interested in since we have a second. Manute Bol now with 3 blocks in this game. And that really has been a big part of the difference in where the momentum has been going. So it'll be Danny Ainge here with the ball, and he ends up committing a turnover. So we'll go the other way. The Bullets have it. Jeff Malone up against Danny Ainge, and Ainge's defense forces a missed shot. It'll be Kevin McHale coming down with this. Over to Danny Ainge, and this is blocked by Jeff Malone. So another big block for the Bullets. This is blocked out of bounds. The Celtics will keep the ball. Manute Bol now with a block against Greg Kite, and this one is also blocked out of bounds. You got to feel that the fans in the Boston Garden getting a little bit restless here, trying to watch this happen. Kevin McHale now with it, and he finally makes a basket, 60-53. McHale has 13 points. Ennis Watley now with it, and the roll up against Dennis Johnson is good. Shot is good rather for Watley. It's his 7th. 62-53 now Washington. Danny Ainge with this, and he takes a 3-point shot, and this ends up missing. Rebound ends up going to Dennis Watley, and they'll take it down slowly. It'll be with Terry Catledge, but this is blocked by McHale, and it's a rebound opportunity because of that roll. Ends up being Jay Vincent grabbing this, and he puts it back up and misses. He ends up grabbing the offensive rebound again, and then they'll go back out and reset it. Ends up with Vincent again, who was fouled by Larry Bird. And so he'll have 2 shots. A couple of changes out there. Looks like mostly for the Celtics. We're going for this small lineup, which is not very well advised. They didn't play very well last time they had this. Vincent with 2 free throws, misses the first and hits the second. So it'll be 63-53 Washington. Dennis Johnson with this now is forced to pass out because of Watley's defense. Now Danny Ainge with it, and he has a great pass in there to Kevin McHale for the basket. 63-55 now Bullets. Jay Vincent here with the ball, and up against Larry Bird, and he's fouled. It'll be Larry Bird called for the foul. Vincent makes 1 free throw and then makes the second. So 65-55 now Washington. Minute and a half left in the half. And Ainge up against Malone, and Ainge able to make the shot. So that's good. 65-57. As you can see, different defensive abilities for different players make a difference. And it's Watley with us now up against Dennis Johnson. That's missed. Roll for the rebound ends up being a 4. In the end, it ends up being Darren Dane grabbing the defensive rebound. And it's a fast break opportunity. And Dennis Johnson has it, and he has a great pass back to Darren Day. 65-59 as Day gets his first 2 points of the game. Going the other way, it'll be Jeff Malone here up against Danny Ainge, and he attempts a shot and he's fouled, and that will be called against Darren Day. 2 shots here from Malone as we near the end of the half. The first one is good. The second one misses. Rebound opportunity, and it'll be Kevin McHale who ends up grabbing this one. About a minute left. Danny Ainge now with the ball, but he has to pass out. Ends up going back to Ainge in the end. Jeff Malone up against him, and the shot is missed. So it'll be Catledge grabbing the rebound. Bullets bring it down and have to go through one segment of shot clock, and it'll be Ennis Watley here now with it, and he rolls the assist, goes over to Jeff Malone, and it's good. So Jeff Malone now with 13, 68-59 Bullets. Time running out here. Darren Day up against Manute Bol, and it's another block for Bol. Blocked out of bounds again, so we'll try it again. Danny Ainge now against Jeff Malone. Ainge with the assist over to Larry Bird. So Bird now with 17, 68-61 with 4 seconds left, and that's going to be it for the period. So at the end of the half, it's Bullets 68, Celtics 61. I know this is a little bit long, but I'll tell you, if you enjoyed this kind of content, you want to see more of this, consider becoming a channel member or consider supporting me on Patreon. You can see a whole bunch of additional content that's sort of like this. We'll go ahead and try to push our way through here to the end so we don't keep you here all night long. It's going to be the Bullets with the ball here to start the third quarter. I'm sorry, it's going to be the Celtics with the ball. My apologies. It showed me the wrong thing. Parrish up against Malone, and he's going to miss the shot. Rebound opportunity will go to Moses Malone over to Ennis Watley, and he has to pass this one out from the fast break. It'll end up with Jeff Malone in the end, and he has a great pass over, and we'll just call it to Jay Vincent. That makes it a 70-61 game for the Bullets. Coming the other way is going to be Larry Bird with it, and he takes the shot and makes it over Jay Vincent. So 70-63 now. The Celtics looking for a way to come back into this game. Watley with it now, up against Dennis Johnson, takes the shot and is good, and he's fouled. The foul called on Larry Bird, that's his third, so we have to pay attention to that. Watley with one shot, and it's up and good, 73-63, three-point play. Coming the other way, Kevin McHale against Terry Catledge. And McHale makes the shot, 73-65. Moses Malone now up against Parrish, and he has a great pass over, we'll call it to Watley again, so 75-65. Coming the other way now, it'll be Robert Parrish up against Moses Malone, and Parrish ends up missing the shot. Moses Malone will grab the defensive rebound, a fast break over to Jeff Malone, and he goes up for it and makes the basket and is fouled. Gets one shot, and it's up and good. It'll be Dennis Johnson called for that foul. So 78-65 Bullets. Coming the other way, it'll be Robert Parrish here against Moses Malone. And his rule is up and good. So it's a basket for Parrish on the inside. And we go the other way for the Bullets. And I think we'll have Jeff Malone grab this one up against Danny Ainge. And he puts the ball up for an outside shot, and it's good. 80-67. So it's going all wrong for the Celtics. Robert Parrish now with it up against Moses Malone. He rolls out for the pass. Ends up with Danny Ainge. And Jeff Malone, good defense, forces the shot to be missed. Jay Vincent grabs the rebound over to Terry Catledge, and he has to pass this one away. So the fast break doesn't work. Jay Vincent now with the ball up against Bird, and he takes a shot and scores, and that makes it 82-67, and that's another timeout for the Celtics. So 82-67 now the score. 10 minutes left here in the third quarter. It'll be Kevin McHale here with the ball for Boston up against Catledge, and he takes a shot up and good. 82-69. Now Jay Vincent now with the ball up against Larry Bird. Bird forces the pass. A good defense. Catledge now against Parrish, and it's another forced pass. And so it'll be with Jeff Malone now. And he makes the basket with no time left on the shot clock. So good play there by the Bullets, and they used up a bit of clock. 84-69. Larry Bird now with the ball up against Jay Vincent, and he'll make the shot and good. 21 for Bird. Bird with 21, Jeff Malone with 20. So there's your big stars. Jeff Malone will take this ball again. We'll give it to him. He's got the hot hand up against Danny Ainge. Makes the shot. That's good. 22 now for Malone. From the other way, it'll be DJ. Dennis Johnson tries a shot, and it's no good. And it'll be Parrish coming away with the offensive rebound. Tries to go back up with it. Doesn't make it. And now Moses Malone with it, and they'll slow it down. Ends up here with Catledge up against McHale, but McHale, good play, ends up stealing it. Fast break opportunity over to Dennis Johnson, who puts it up and good, and he is fouled. It'll be Jeff Malone charged with that foul. 86-73 now. Dennis Johnson with a free throw, and it's up and good, as you would expect. And Johnson now is 10, and it'll be Washington ball. Vincent up against Bird, and Bird forces the miss. Robert Parrish with the rebound, and it goes down for a fast break opportunity to Johnson. Johnson with a great pass goes over to Danny Ainge. We'll just go for that. And there's the basket. Ainge with his 15th point, and it's 86-76. Bullets now with it have to go through one possession that didn't result in anything. The shot by Jay Vincent, no good. I believe Robert Parrish grabbing the rebound. Parrish sends it up front, ends up with Larry Bird up against Jay Vincent, and Bird makes it and is good. So Vincent, not a great job on defense. It's now an 8-point game. Moses Malone here with it, and he makes the basket over Robert Parrish. So that really kind of slows down the momentum a little bit. 88-78. And the Celtics end up having to use way too much time on this possession. Ends up with Danny Ainge, who makes it the third card around, 88-80. Catledge now with it, and he ends up turning this ball over. So poor play there by Terry Catledge, and we go the other way. Dennis Johnson now with this, forced to pass it out. The Celtics still having a hard time getting that offense set up. Larry Bird now against Moses Malone, and he misses the shot. And the rebound ends up going to Kevin McHale in the end. And McHale goes back up with it, and he is fouled. Foul on Moses Malone. That's only his first. Moses Malone with 14 points. Jeff Malone with 22. McHale up there at the line. I think he has 19, if I saw right. That's good. And this one is good. So McHale now with 21. It's 88-82, and the Bullets will take the timeout. So the question is, do you want to change anything? Do you want to do any strategy? I don't think that we really need to at this point in time in the game. Moses Malone with it against Parrish, and the shot is up and missed. Rebound ends up going to Ennis Wadley. Wadley rolls and ends up having to pass it out. Not a great inside player is Wadley. Wadley with the ball again and misses this one. It'll be grabbed by Dennis Johnson for the defensive rebound. So the Celtics have really managed to come back in this game, and they've got some momentum. Danny Ainge now with the ball, but he turns it over. I think we can credit Jeff Malone with good defense that time, 88-82. And we have a couple of changes there as that ball went out of bounds. Jeff Malone here will come down with the ball for the Bullets up against Danny Ainge, and he misses the shot. Rebound goes to Robert Parrish. Parrish has a chance for a fast break. Not much of a fast break player. Ends up having to pass it out. Goes over to Jerry Sichting, and he rolls for an assist, and his pass goes to Danny Ainge. It's 88-84. Ainge now with 19. Catledge now with the ball up against Kevin McHale, and he'll roll up against McHale's card, and the shot is up and good, 90-84. And so we come back down the other way. Danny Ainge now with it, and he misses the shot. Moses Malone with the rebound. So Washington starting to get some momentum back. It'll be with Terry Catledge against McHale, but his shot misses. Danny Ainge grabs it, and so the Celtics come down the other way. They move it down slowly, ends up with Robert Parrish, and he rolls the 7 for the basket, 90-86. John Williams now with it against Darren Day, and Day gets the steal. Fast break opportunity goes down to Jerry Sichting, and he ends up making the basket, and it's now 90-88. So I think what we probably want to do is call a timeout for the Bullets. So the Bullets will call the timeout, try to see if they can at least stop the momentum a little bit here. Michael Adams with the ball against Sichting, and he ends up making the shot. That's going to be good. 92-88. This game's become close all of a sudden. Robert Parrish now with it against Moses Malone, and Malone forces the pass. And nobody can qualify it on the next guard, so in the next one ends up with Danny Ainge, and he forces the pass as well. And he's forced to attempt a three-point shot as a result, otherwise the clock will expire, and he makes it. Danny Ainge with a clutch three-pointer, and that makes it 92-91. Go around the other way, it'll be Moses Malone here with the ball for the Bullets, and with Robert Parrish on him, forced to pass. Passes out, it'll be John Williams, with it up against Larry Bird, and he's forced to pass it out again. And nobody qualifies this time, and so John Williams will be forced to attempt a shot, and he makes it, and it's good. 94-91. About 4 minutes left. Larry Bird now with the ball, and he's fouled, and it's going to be called on Jeff Malone, who has picked up his third. Bird makes the first and makes the second, 94-93. Here comes Michael Adams with the ball, and he passes this one out. And it'll end up with John Williams, who has a great pass for an assist, and that will be Jeff Malone with it again, Malone with 24. Larry Bird now with it, and his shot is missed. Good rebound, or good defense rather, but he grabs the offensive rebound, goes back up with it, and misses again. Grabs the offensive rebound again. Bird all over this, and it ends up being passed back out. Kevin McHale now with it, and it's his shot over Catledge is up and good, 96-95. Moses Malone here with the ball against Robert Parrish, and he's forced to pass it on out. Ends up with Catledge, and he goes up against Kevin McHale, and he is fouled. They're going to charge Larry Bird with the foul. That's his fourth, and that's kind of a key play, as the Celtics now forced to rest Larry Bird, trying to keep him out of this foul trouble. Catledge, first free throw is good, and the second free throw also good. Terry Catledge now with 12 points, 98-95. We're going to hit the century mark before the end of this quarter. Michael Adams ends up with a three-point attempt here. I'm sorry, Dennis Johnson against Michael Adams. Adams forced it, and his rule is good, kind of unusual. So the Celtics have tied this game 98-98, and it will be the Bullets here with the ball. Terry Catledge up against Greg Kite, and the defense by Kite forces a missed shot. McCallich grabs his own rebound and makes the basket inside, 100-98. Darren Day now with it, and his role is a 3 for a basket up against John Williams. So Day has 4 points, but you'll notice the big man, Bird, not in there. Bullets come back down with it. Moses Malone against Parrish, but Parrish forces the miss. So it'll be Malone with the offensive rebound. Rolls again, and he's fouled. He's going to be fouled by Dennis Johnson. That's his third. Moses Malone now goes up for the first shot, and it's good. And the second shot is good as well, 102-100. Dennis Johnson coming down here against Adams and forced to pass it out. We've had a lot of these pass-out results, but it's been a high-scoring game. Darren Day now, and he attempts the shot and misses. It'll be Robert Parrish, though, with the offensive rebound, goes back up with it, and he makes the basket, and he's fouled, and the Celtics can finally go ahead in this game. They haven't been away since the first, or been ahead since the first quarter. Parrish, and he misses the free throw. Kevin McHale, though, with the offensive rebound, and they pass it back. No, he has a chance to go up again, and he ends up being fouled for 2 shots. That'll be Darwin Cook called for the foul. So with about a minute and a half left, McHale takes the first shot and misses his free throw shot. Second one is up and good. 103-102 Celtics. Comes back down here for Washington. John Williams with it up against Darren Day. That's going to be a missed shot. There is going to be a rebound, and we'll go with Michael Adams. So Adams will go back up with it, and he misses his shot. This time, Robert Parrish grabs the rebound. It'll go the other way. Celtics have to waste a little bit of time, and then McHale turns it over. So we go back down to the Bullets, down by a point. And Williams against Darren Day and ends up making that shot, makes it 104-103. Kevin McHale with it now, and he rolls for an assist, and it's a good play. We'll give it over to Parrish here. Parrish now with 10, and it goes the other way with just 42 seconds left. Michael Adams misses this shot against Darren Johnson. It'll be Rick Carlisle grabbing the rebound, and it goes over to Dennis Johnson for a potential fast break, but he has to pass it on out, and that'll take up some time. Dennis Johnson now against Moses Malone, and Johnson ends up missing the shot, but Kevin McHale gets the offensive rebound, goes back up with it and misses. McHale grabs it again, but he has to pass again. And this time it's over to Rick Carlisle, who's guarded by Darwin Cook, misses the shot. Robert Parrish this time grabs the rebound. And Parrish goes back up with it, but he misses. And it ends up going out of bounds, and the Celtics will retain possession. So 105-104 Boston. And it'll be Dennis Johnson here with the ball, and he's forced to pass, and he's going to attempt a three-point shot with time running out, and he misses it, and that's the end of the quarter, I believe. That is it, and it's 105-104 Boston. This has been one heck of a quarter. I do want to take a look really quickly here at the box score. Celtics have 44 points in that third quarter. And it's been a heck of a game. 50% three-point shooting for the Bullets, 1 of 2, and then 2 of 5 for the Celtics. So we'll keep a little eye on that. Statistically speaking, though, quite accurate, and a lot of interesting things happening with those momentum swings. So we'll go here to the fourth quarter. Washington here with the ball, and Darwin Cook up against Rick Carlisle. So you can see a lot of this is very, very abstract. You have to kind of use your imagination and stuff that kind of makes it fun. Cook ends up missing the shot, and it'll be Manu Bull here with the offensive rebound. He goes back up with it and is forced to pass out. And so they reset. Michael Adams with it, and he ends up missing the shot. Kevin McHale grabs the rebound. You can see the Celtics definitely have a rebounding advantage. It's a slight one, but they have it. And it's Johnson now, and he has a great play for an assist. This will go over to Larry Bird. Bird now with 27. 107-104 Celtics. It'll be Charles Jones with this, and he's forced to pass. It'll be Darwin Cook now, and it's stolen away by Carlisle. Carlisle with a fast break opportunity over to Johnson, but he misses the shot. And Charles Jones grabs the rebound. Now over to Adams for the fast break the other way, and he has an opportunity with it, and it'll go over sure to Manu Bull. And Bull will end up making the points, so that means he has 8. 107-106. Rick Carlisle with it against Cook, and Carlisle will make the shot, 109-106. It'll be Manu Bull now with the ball against McHale, and is blocked by Kevin McHale. This is blocked out of bounds, so the Bullets will maintain possession. Moses Malone now with it as they put him back in, him together with Manu Bull, so they got twin towers in there. One of them's got to be playing power forward. Probably Moses is what I would imagine. Moses up against Parrish, but misses the shot, but Moses ends up grabbing the rebound and makes the basket as he puts it back up 109-108. Come the other way down, it'll be Ainge against Cook. Danny Ainge misses the shot, and it's Robert Parrish with the rebound. He'll go back up with it for the basket, 111 to 108. Darwin Cook now with it, misses the shot. Larry Bird with a big defensive rebound, and he'll go the other way, and it'll be Larry Bird here with the ball, which is what you want, but he turns it over against John Williams. There's still only a 3-point lead there for the Celtics. Comes back the other way, be Ennis Wadley with it, and he rolls and gets the assist, and this will go here to Moses Malone. At 20 points now for Moses Malone, and it's 111 to 110 Celtics. So this is going to be one of those games. You can see, too, with this game that, like, if we were going to play this card and dice, it'd probably take a little while. You can talk yourself hoarse doing this as well. Robert Parrish now with it after the Celtics waste one, and Moses Malone with the block. That's what happens to those twin towers in there. And this is blocked out of bounds. Celtics retain possession. And Larry Bird with it against Moses Malone, and Bird ends up making the shot. So it's 113 to 110 for the Celtics, and Bird is 29, McHale 24, Ainge 22. Big scoring there for the Bullets. Bull with it now against Parrish, and he makes the shot. That'll be, he ends up passing it out because he doesn't have enough of a shot rating to make a shot there. Ends up going to Moses Malone, and Parrish ends up forcing him into a miss. This one ends up, however, being rebounded by Moses Malone, and he ends up being fouled, and the foul will be on Larry Bird. That is his 5th. So we'll see if Bird comes back into this game. If the computer doesn't put him in, we'll put him in manually near the end. And here's Moses Malone for 2, and he makes the first. 2-point margin, and he makes the second. It's a 1-point game, 113 to 112. Heck of a time for Bird to get that 5th foul. Parrish with it now, and he rolls and ends up with the pass over to Darren Day, guarded by Jay Vincent, and Vincent blocks his shot. And this is a rebound opportunity. It'll be Moses Malone who grabs it. Fast break opportunity to Vincent, but he has to pass it out. Ends up with Jeff Malone here, and Malone, guarded by Ainge, ends up missing the shot. It'll be Kevin McHale grabbing the rebound, goes the other way, but Dennis Johnson now is forced to pass it out. Danny Ainge with this now against Jeff Malone. Takes a 3-point attempt, and it's a good shot, so it's going to be 116 to 112. Bullets will come down with this. 8:33 left to go. Jay Vincent with it against Darren Day, and it's stolen by Day. He has a fast break opportunity, but he turns it over. So poor play there in the end by Day. Going the other way again, Bullets with the ball. Jeff Malone with it up against Danny Ainge. Rolls a 7, which is a basket off of Ainge's card. 116 to 114. Danny Ainge now against Jeff Malone, and it's a 3-point attempt forced up by Malone, and it's a miss. Long rebound goes to Ennis Wadley. And it's a fast break over to Jeff Malone, but it ends up being passed off. And Jay Vincent now with the ball eventually passes this off again, so Washington running out of time. Moses Malone with this over against Robert Parrish, and that's a shot clock violation. Told you 3 of those, and it doesn't work, and my guess is I'd have to go look in the minutia of the rules again, but that Moses Malone not able to take a desperation shot. So that's the thing. When you read the rules of the game, the desperation shot stuff and all of that is kind of optional stuff. So those of us who are a little bit new might not exactly know how that works. So we go back around Celtics ball. Darren Day up against Jay Vincent, and his shot is missed. Rebound attempt, and it's going to be Jeff Malone grabbing this. This is a great game. Malone up against Dennis Johnson, and Wadley against Johnson. The shot is missed. Dennis Johnson grabs the defensive rebound. About 7 minutes left in this game. McHale now with it against Manute Bull, and it's a foul called on Bull, his first, and so Boston will inbound the ball. Darren Day now with it against Jay Vincent, and Vincent forces the miss. Moses Malone, whoever grabs the defensive rebound, ends up with Jay Vincent, who has to pass it away, and they get out of the fast break. Vincent with it again now. Rolls for the assist, and this will go over to Jeff Malone. See what we want to score. So Malone now with 28 points, and we are tied at 116. 6.5 minutes left. Nobody qualifies for the possession. That's what happens when Bird is not on the floor. Darren Day now is forced to pass against Jay Vincent. And it'll be Darren Day again, and he misses the shot. We'll roll for the rebound. It'll be Jeff Malone grabbing it. And against Ennis Wadley rolls for the assist. Back to Jeff Malone. We're going to do that again. 30 points now for Malone. 118-116 Bullets. Celtics may need to put Bird back in soon. Dennis Johnson ends up with it, and there's the roll for the assist over to Kevin McHale, and it's tied at 118. Coming back the other way, Ennis Watley against Johnson, and it's going to be a basket there for Watley, and it's 120 to 118. Watley now with 14 points. It's that foul trouble that's hurt Boston so far. Parrish ends up making the shot inside against Malone. Tied at 120, and it'll be Jeff Malone here with this, and he misses up against Danny Ainge, but Jeff Malone grabs his own rebound, ends up going back up with it, and he's fouled. Called on Dennis Johnson. That is his fourth, another player to watch out for. First shot is up there, and he misses it. Second one is up there, and it's good. So 1 point lead for the Bullets. And here come the Celtics down the other way. Larry Bird now with the ball, up against Jay Vincent, and it'll be a 3-point attempt for Bird, and he misses that. Rebound, and that one ends up going out of bounds, and it'll end up being the Celtics inbounding this ball. Under 5 minutes left, and so Bird is out there again, by the way. They did put him back in. Catledge up against McHale forces a pass. Good defense by the Bullets. That's what the story's been. Now Bird with a great pass over to Danny Ainge. Ainge now with 27 points, and with about 4.5 minutes left, this is a 1 point lead for the Celtics. It'll be Jeff Malone here grabbing the ball for the Bullets up against Danny Ainge, and he makes the shot. It's good, 33 from Malone. Still a 1 point game. Going the other way, Dennis Johnson against Watley, and it's a 3-point attempt there for Johnson, and he misses it. Rebounded, though, by Dennis Johnson. I'm trying to figure that one out. So it's a long rebound, and he's forced to pass out instead of having the inside shot, and then nobody qualifies for a possession the second time around, so the Celtics kind of running out of time. Moses Malone forces the pass, and ends up being Moses Malone with the ball. Oh, I see what happened here. Defender is fatigued is what it says down here. So that was changed to a basket. They might want to change the game a little bit so that something pops up so you can see what happened. 1 point lead for the Celtics. Moses Malone here with it against Robert Parrish, and he misses the shot. Ennis Watley ends up grabbing it, and he commits the offensive turnover. So it remains a 1 point lead. Boston now with the ball. They can really slow it down here. Dennis Johnson forced to pass. Kevin McHale up against Catledge, and that'll be a good shot. So it's a 3 point lead now for the Celtics. And I think we are going to do a little bit of holding options here. I don't know if we necessarily want to hold the ball, though. But the Bullets probably want to do a fast pace. There we go. We want to do slow pace. That's probably what we're going to do here. Let's see how that works. Moses Malone now with it, rolls and is forced to pass off. Ends up with Jay Vincent against Bird, and Bird with the steal. And they're going to slow it up. See, that's what happens when you're doing this. They decide to slow down the pace, which makes sense. You have a 3 point lead. Danny Ainge with a 3 point attempt. We'll roll it, and it's good. So it's a 6 point lead now for the Celtics. And boy, oh boy, the fatigue for the Washington players has made kind of the difference. Moses Malone now against Robert Parrish, forced to pass it out. Will be Terry Catledge with it now, and he turns the ball over, and this looks like it's falling apart for Washington. This was a golden opportunity for them, but it's not working now. Celtics end up having to pass it out once, and Kevin McHale takes the basket, and it's good, and it's an 8 point lead now. And we'll try calling a play here for the Bullets. So we'll see what they can do. We'll keep that on there, and once it says once we push play, we can choose a player to make the play. So we want Jeff Malone here to make this play. Inbound result is successful, so they do get it to Malone. Malone ends up on Ainge. He takes a shot and good, and so it's a 6 point game now. We're going to try the crash press. Let's see what that does. Parrish up against Malone, and it's a basket. So Robert Parrish able to score 8 point game again. And I have it over to Jeff Malone again, and he takes a 3 point attempt, and it's good. So 5 point game, about a minute and a half left. Larry Bird now with it up against Jay Vincent, and the shot misses. Kevin McHale, however, with the rebound, and he rolls the assist, gets it back over to Larry Bird. That will mean Bird has 31. 3 players with 30 points for the Celtics. Coming the other way, it would be Catledge with it, but he misses the shot. And Parrish grabs the offensive rebound, and this game is pretty much over. Dennis Johnson misses the shot. Watley with it, they got to hurry up. And Moses Malone with it inside makes the basket, so it's a 5 point game. Boston ends up inbounding this ball. Yeah, was fouled there. Danny Ainge was fouled by Jeff Malone. That's what happened there. And we have to go through 2 of those possession cards as Boston's slowing it down, but Bird ends up making the shot. 30 seconds left. So, I mean, you're going to have to intentionally foul, I think, and there's not much else you can do. Wadley with the pass, and that's going to end this ball game probably. Wadley again rolls the pass. He tries a last-minute desperation 3-point shot, and it misses, and there you go. Your game's done. And so in the end, the Celtics are able to win this game. Final score here is going to be, as I'm looking through all this stuff, it's 137 to 130. The Celtics with the win. There were 19 lead changes. The Bullets at one point in time had a 15-point lead, and the Celtics, of course, had an 8-point lead a little bit later on. This, though, is a very, very exciting game, if you ask me, and it shows sort of like the way the momentum works here in hoops. So you never quite know what's going to happen. And so there you have it, and we'll go ahead and close out of this one. And you can see here at the top up here that the Celtics are 1-0, the Bullets are 0-1. Everything saves automatically for you, so you don't have to use card and paper and pencil and all that stuff to keep track of it. So anyway, there you go. Let me know what you think if you want to see more hoops basketball, and give me a little bit of feedback what you think about this. This is my first time really going through a full game here with a computer game. Lots of stuff that I kind of skipped over in the interest of keeping this down to only an hour. I'll try to do a little bit faster next time, but there you go. I'll talk with you again later. Bye-bye.